If you consider an unsuccessful hunt to be a waste of your time, then the true meaning of the chase eludes you altogether. Fred Bear. Good morning. It's raining outside. It started raining sometime mid-morning, but I think it's starting to slow down now. It looks really cool out there. I'm going to go and find my, if you can see it, but my bag is hanging in the tree so that I can make some pasta. The thing that really drives me the most is challenging myself and to archery hunt and harvest a big woods buck on state game lands in Pennsylvania. That is a challenge. I wanted to take you along with me as I travel through the big woods of Pennsylvania, archery hunting black bear and white-tailed deer. Growing up in the Pennsylvania mountains, hunting what is known as the Allegheny Plateau not only brought a great appreciation for the outdoors, but an understanding of the connection between hunting and wildlife conservation. I have spent my entire life chasing whitetails. I think it's safe to say it's part of our culture here in Pennsylvania, as well as our conservation plan. Scouting whitetails for me is an amazing series of camping, hiking, kayaking, animal tracking, and campfire cookouts. The things I will learn on this journey will be surpassed each year I attempt this hunt, because doing it doesn't mean success each year. It means growth to better equip me in knowledge and skill. It will be learning a bit more about white-tailed deer, black bear, and a bit more about myself. It happens every time I go out. Planning to hunt in this way here at home started last year. I wanted to go back to the way I learned to hunt. But my plans were abruptly changed as I headed to the majestic mountains of British Columbia to film alone on the History Channel. But as soon as I returned, I picked up my planning. I started scouting again. First, I gathered some maps of the state game lands. Next, I consulted and asked a lot of questions. Most of my friends have spent an equal amount of time in the woods. They each hold different skills, but all of them are just as valuable to me. I needed to decide where I would start. After a few kayak trips and some hiking trips, I finally chose my location. I had to be minimal human influence, no roads, and the least amount of noise I could find. Big woods buck do not necessarily mean big antlered buck, but they mean smarter, older buck. This one is a little questionable. You really got to work for this one because it wants to suck you over to the bank. You really don't want to be over there, so turn around here. There's some rocks right there that'll flip you over, so when you're coming down into that one, you gotta really try to stay right. My time was spent primarily in the Pennsylvania Pine Creek Gorge, along the largest creek in the United States, one of my favorite places in the world, my home. I know these woods, but I wanted to go deeper. First one. The deer are pawing around in here. Actually, this one might be a squirrel. Nope. The deer are pawing all over. I have hunted and harvested whitetail both in the woods and fields, but this hunt on the Pennsylvania state game lands will test me. This is where I will find them, the big mature whitetail buck and the beautiful Pennsylvania black bear. Out here the feeders are finding the right patches of acorns, knowing the red oaks from the white and mature buck prints from the doe. Very good hunting over there too. Hunting whitetail this way in this location will be more preparation and mean more equipment. I have to work hard getting set up and packing everything to the location. If I choose to bring a tree stand, it needs to be compact. I only want to make one trip in and not lose an entire day packing equipment. Hunting whitetail and black bear can be a lot simpler, but I find most of my trips hunting large game far more rewarding when hunting this way. I may or may not be successful at the end of it, but this journey is always an amazing story. Look, digging over there. It is very easy to get turned around in the middle of the woods here, so I also need to make sure I know my trail and know where I need to come back to. I made my first trip to the location I had chosen. The hike in with my pack was a small taste of what fall will bring. I'll spend an upwards of 2 weeks at this location, and I need enough supplies to last. It took a bit of scouting, but I found the spot for my camp. This will be the first of many trips to this location. I need to learn patterns, habits, and food sources here. This will take some time observing. Staying as long as I can now at my camp on the outskirts of my hunting area is important for me to get familiar. I will, however, need to maintain a good distance so I don't change the patterns just by my presence. It's now nearly the end of July, which gives me about 2 months until archery begins, and about a month until the white oak acorns begin to fall. Out here the patterns will not change drastically at the beginning of the season because the food is here. They do not need to leave the fields to find their food of choice, which is acorns. High in fats and carbohydrates, this is what they are looking for this time of year because they are easily digested. Not only is the food source here, but there are multiple springs running off the mountain for a water source. Not only for the deer, but for me as well. These deer will give me a good chance at finding them, but no matter how much I prepare, they are unpredictable. The deer will have cover in these woods all day, so they are free to roam throughout the day without fear of being in the open. I started my scout of this area easily for black bear. The signs are everywhere. There's no hiding the big old black bear signs I almost stepped in. So these guys are easy, but not easy to hunt. I will get into that as I go through this video series.
Lots of acorns.
But for the whitetail, I find traces of scat and tracks as well as foraging. This is where that bear came through, so he must have been rubbing on this stuff. And laurel here surrounds the woods. It's so thick you can see the deer trails and hear them running through it. The big woods buck and the black bear love the dense cover it provides. Our seasons of archery, whitetail deer, and black bear will overlap here in Pennsylvania, so I'll take the opportunity to set up camp and hunt them both. This will be my location until they change their patterns in the rut, and then off to wintering. For me, this journey is just beginning. There's so much work to do. If I am successful, this will be the hunt of a lifetime. And ironically, for an animal that I have hunted my whole life. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel to follow along on my archery big woods buck hunt.